Welcome to the Greg Bennett Show. I'm your host, Greg Bennett, and this was an absolutely fantastic conversation with the president of the Challenge Family Board, Zibi Szlufcik. And in this one, we talk everything from his journey from escaping behind the Iron Curtain from Poland to Germany to, starting up Powerbar Europe and then becoming the CEO of the Challenge family of races. And Zibi's insights into the world of triathlon are absolutely fantastic. So many great takeaways in this one with Zibi, and I truly appreciate his time to come on the show and chat. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. And remember, success comes to those who endure just one moment longer. All right. Today's guest is someone I've had the pleasure of getting to know over the past 10 to 15 years, and he's truly a visionary in the world of triathlon. His life story reads like an adventure novel, and his passion for sports has shaped an organization that has changed the face of triathlons around the globe. From escaping behind the Iron Curtain to winning winter triathlon world titles and building Challenge Family into an iconic global series, his journey is nothing short of inspiring. In this episode, we'll take a deep dive into his early days, his role in Powerbar Europe, the incredible growth of Challenge Family over the past 21 years, and what it takes to make a mark in the highly competitive world of triathlon. So, without further ado, welcome and thanks for joining me on the Greg Bennett Show, the president of the Challenge Family Board, Zibi Szlufcik. How are you, mate?
I'm very well. We have a kind of a heat wave in Europe, which is pretty amazing. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to have this conversation with you.
Very good, mate. Well, it has been a while. I think the last time we spoke was actually at Triathlon Business International a number of years ago, and we went for that run in the morning. Do you remember that? How long ago was that? It must be
absolutely. Well, I'm just kind of lost the connection to time. I just really don't know. It must be like 6, 7, 8 years, something like that, maybe 5. I'm just definitely before COVID, let's say like that.
Yes, everything's pre-COVID and post-COVID, mate. Well, mate, congrats on everything that's going on at Challenge Family. This past year was absolutely incredible. Challenge Roth, always the big standout event. Let's start with that, mate. Did that just blow you away watching Magnus Ditlev do what he did and Daniela Riff just turning up and doing what she did? What an incredible race that was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A record-breaking event from all perspectives. I think the best times in the world of Magnus and Daniela, unbelievably competitive field. But also, the spectators, over 300,000 people lining up in the middle of nowhere. Roth is, as you know, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's just unbelievable to see. And, I have been on the sideline of this event for many years when we started to work with Felix's father as a partners and sponsor and Detlef Kühnel, the original founder of the event in Roth. It was amazing, and to see the growth and development of it, and the way the community own and lead the whole thing is just pretty spectacular. And at the end of the day, this was the foundation for Challenge Family. We just clearly defined what are the values and what's the value proposition of Challenge, and developed based on that the Challenge Family in a global scale.
It really is, at the core. When I think Challenge Family, my first thought is Challenge Roth. Obviously, you've got 30 plus events around the world or more, 35, 36, I don't know. I was losing count. But I'm really curious. I've always, Challenge Roth has been around a long time. It's one of the sort of the original long distant triathlon events.
Yeah.
Laura went and did it. My wife, Laura, she went and did it one year. Yeah. I'm so envious that I never managed to get there and do it myself. I must admit, I kind of did one Ironman in Melbourne, and then I did Kona, and then it was just, it's not my thing.
Greg, let's make it simple. Take it as a personal invitation just to finish the business. It's after a finished business. It's something what lacks in your CV. So we just nail it down. Just let me know when, next year or year after, and we get you there.
I tell you what, I'm going to need several years now. I hate to admit, Zibi, but 2016 was my last year of racing. And for me, even doing a decent 5K, I thank you so much for the invitation. And I tell you what, I'm going to pencil it in. Man, me getting through an Ironman now? Okay. All right. But I tell you what, if there's any event I would want to come back for, I'm telling you, and this is not just because you're on my show and I'm talking to you, if there was one event that I was to say, okay, I'm going to give triathlon one more go around and, and just get through it, obviously there'd be no record set, but it would be Challenge Roth. Without a doubt. It is the one.
It's a magic place. I think this is where people, and I truly believe COVID just opened eyes to how critical are in our lives the intangible assets being taken care of. And this is what you're experiencing, Roth. And I remember to talk to actually Peter Henning. He told something to me, which was kind of a wake-up call. He said, Zibi, the greatest assets of Challenge Family on a global scale is there is nothing negative about Challenge Family. If you talk to industry, media, pro athletes, age groupers, local communities, everyone has something good to say. And, whenever I'm standing in front of the race directors across the globe, I'm telling them always very simple thing. We have our values, ethics, and morals we need to follow, but please remain always within a very simple state. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Very simple thing. And I think you really feel it. That this is something what it's core of Challenge Family and Roth. Of course, the course is amazing. The spectators are amazing. This is the biggest triathlon expo in the world with 200 exhibitors. The environment is just magic, as I have said.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see. I'm curious, what are you? You've mentioned Challenge Family's values and vision. What is the vision or mission statement, or what is at the core of who you are as a company? I mean, I want to get into you personally in a moment, but you've mentioned that a couple of times, and I'm curious, what is it?
Well, first of all, I think we have learned over the time that to sustain in the mass participation sport, you have to care about what you do. We are entering to communities, and we are interfering the daily life of the people with our events. So to us, it is first of all very critical that we have a race director which is rooted locally, who understands the dynamic of the region, of the area, and so on and so on, and is connected to the clubs and all of those things which are helpful to organize events. That's the first thing. Second thing, I think we undergo a transformation where Challenge used to be focused on a long distance and middle distance only, and we are right now more like a triathlon festival company where you have a number of side events, and you still middle and long distance are icing on the cake, but the side events, kids, juniors, women's only, relays, it's bringing the community together. And the next thing is, all of our services we use to deliver the event are local. We are leaving long and lasting legacy on the one end, and of course, economic value also to the people on the ground. So I think this is the most critical thing. And as you can imagine, we are talking to governmental institutions, to tourism boards, and whenever you tell them exactly this story, they immediately getting the point that this is something what is lasting, and it's not in and out. And luckily, we are in a position to grow nicely and kicking back very strongly after COVID. We haven't let go a single person during the COVID times. We had to really struggle and fight like everyone in the mass participation sports, but we have been very privileged that all of partners of Challenge Family, all sponsors of Challenge Family remain on board. And I think this just reflect amazingly on the team and the entire team. If there is that one single thing what I would mention about Challenge Family, what I'm most proud of, then I would say the team, the people who are core of the Challenge Family, and core people or core team of Challenge Family, and our race directors. We're having once or twice a year a race director meeting where we bring all of the race directors together, and it's just amazing to spend time with those people.
I love that, Zibi. I mean, you've talked about the race directors a couple of times there, and understanding that they need to be, local and understand their communities. I think that's really fantastic. I love that our sport takes on this festival approach. I think for too long, for many decades, it was kind of all about the one athlete getting ready for the big race, and the family are all waiting by the sidelines and had nothing to do for the whole weekend. And I think that festival atmosphere, for me, it was always going back to, say, the Noosa Triathlon Festival in Australia, which, we'd go for a week of events, and it was a good party at the end of it and everything else. And to me, that's exactly what Challenge Family are all about. And I think that's really commendable. And when you talk about your team, well, honestly, mate, it starts at the top. I think, they've got a great leader like yourself that's been involved for so long. And I can imagine that you're somebody that people enjoy working for. So congrats on everything you're doing there. I know a number of your team, and they're all exceptional people. So congrats with that, mate. Let's just shift gear a little bit and, talk about your journey. The early days, I need to know the story of how you kind of, from what I understand, and maybe I'm getting misquoted here, but, escaping from behind the Iron Curtain, how did that kind of shape your path?
Well, actually, I was born in Poland, in the southwest of Poland, which used to be German part. Mm-hmm. And I went to school, made my A-levels, and was moving in with my sporting career in biathlon. Biathlon, cross-country skiing and shooting, which is huge in Germany, second most popular sports. And I was advancing between the national teams, got into qualification for the Olympics, and then got quite a dispute with the federation, and it wasn't related to sport. It was more on a political level, as you can imagine. Before the Iron Curtain fall, it was a lot of things, unwritten rules and regulation you shouldn't stretch, and I stretched a few of those, meeting with other peoples from nation we shouldn't meet and things like that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they wanted to put me in front of kind of a sport court. And I said, guys, I'm not returning to Poland and escape actually during races in Germany. And I was actually on a way to move to US, to Lake Placid, to US Biathlon Center. But unfortunately, the whole case became loud in the German media, on TV and stuff like that, escape, and they have a police search on me because I was disappearing from the place where the national team was, and this is how my life started from scratch, new in Germany at the age of 21, and it was quite a ride. When I have a time to explain people a bit more about the whole journey, everyone is saying, hey, you have to write a book. And one day probably I should, because there is so many things what happened around this time where people would be probably very interested to read about it.
Well, you got to give us a bit more. You got to give me, because now I can talk triathlon all day and challenge all day with you. I know, and so can my listeners. But you got to give us a bit more, mate. So you're on the when you escaped to Germany, they were trying to track you down. Were you in hiding or?
Yeah. Actually, I was on the competition on the races in Germany. So we did like a loop of World Cup races in Austria, Italy, and Germany. And during the German stay, during the Italian stay, I had a dispute with the federation. And during the German stay, I made the decision to stay, to leave the national team. So I will literally pack my backpack, pair of skis and poles, and left the hotel without telling anyone anything. And they started a search. And, they started to do the search on radio and on TV. And I actually kind of arranged the whole thing with friends from US and the German team. Interestingly, the story is really special. The guy who I talked to was American guy with a Russian background. So I talked to him in Russian. He was translating to English and talking English with a German guy from the national team. And they got me into a hut in the mountains for a couple of days, hiding there until the whole thing quieted down a bit. And yeah, it was pretty rough.
Mate.
Pretty rough.
And then so after a period of time, they kind of, you were able to come out of hiding a little bit and get yourself going.
Yeah, it took a while. I mean, you know, my parents haven't heard a word from me. I haven't heard a word from them. You know, the phones were, you know, always controlled, and any post I have sent or letters was disappear. I saw my mother and father after, I think it was after 6 years or something like that.
Whoa!
And this was also a crazy thing. So literally, I went with a friend of mine who was picking me up and kind of guiding through two borders. We had to cross the German-Czech border and Czech-Polish border through the woods. So we kind of planned the whole thing, not being feasible, because, you know, I was really afraid that they will bring me to jail, more or less. So, you know, in the Polish media, they exposed me as the bad guy, and, you know, all of those crazy things. And yeah, it was kind of a wild ride, so to say. But, you know, life started from scratch. I have started to learn German and English in Germany, and start to studying. I was thinking to become actually a coach. So I did all the coaching education with all the licenses and a study in Cologne, which provided me a degree, and was just about to take a role within the German Federation. And then met a friend of mine who said, you know, let's start with Powerbar from zero. And it was also interesting, because at this point of time, we haven't building the brand only Powerbar, but we built the category of sport nutrition. There was no sport nutrition out there. And so we kind of have been the pioneers of the category. Thing.
You're like Red Bull were to energy drinks, was Powerbar to sports nutrition.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Zibi, this is fascinating, mate. And I think we're going to have to keep talking even more about this whole, you know, it's funny, I can know somebody for 10 to 15 years and actually not know this full story. But I do want to hang on it just a little bit more. So you and your racing then, so you were representing Poland. Did you then go over and represent Germany?
Well, actually, I have been trying for probably 3 years to switch the nationality and become a member of the German national team. Unfortunately, the political situation have been very complicated. And on top of that, the International Federation, IBU, had a certain limitation at this point of time. So when you were representing within World Cup or World Championships or Olympic Games one nation, you had a kind of a time frame where you couldn't switch the nation.
Yes.
Without very clear permission of your root nation. And of course, the Polish Federation said absolutely no. They have done anything humanly possible to help me to end up my career. And then I just stopped with biathlon, because it was very, very complicated. You know, you need a rifle, you need all of the permission to carry rifle and all of those things. And moved into cross-country skiing / winter triathlons. So I was racing ski marathons across the globe, World Lopet stuff, and winter triathlon just pop up. It was around 98, 99, 2000. Extremely fast growing. It was just about to become Olympic discipline in 2006. We were doing the World Championships in Italy on the courses where the Olympics Torino took place 2006. But and this is a real shame for the sport. There was a dispute between the Ski Federation and Triathlon Federation where the sport belonged. Is a triathlon or is a winter sport?
Oh, no.
And IOC, who was visiting the races, and they were amazed. You know, they were world champions from mountain biking, from cross-country skiing, from Nordic combine, switching to the sport. So it was really fast growing. We had a fantastic events in Germany with 10,000 spectators, really, really all on Eurosport and stuff like that. And IOC was very interested, but they just said, guys, you can debate and we need to move ahead. We cannot stick there. And then that was kind of, bad for the sport. But it's a really spectacular sport. It's connecting run, mountain bike on snow, and cross-country skiing.
That's awesome.
So great stuff. It's two transitions, very intense, everything on snow, because the rule of the Winter Olympic Games, it has to be on snow or ice, any of the sports. Spectacular. It was good fun and enjoyed it next to my job with Powerbar and family life.
Oh, I love it, buddy. I've known about winter triathlon. I've got to say I'm terrible at anything to do with winter, especially skiing. I have mountain biked in the snow, and that is not easy. I feel like you get bogged down. But it's fascinating that they haven't been able to make that happen, because what an exceptional sport. I do feel, even though I'm mad about triathlon, I do feel that perhaps the ski federations should probably own it.
Me too. I think, and I was actually part of the athletes commission at this point of time, and at this point of time, the president of ITU was Les McDonald,
of course.
And I was sitting with those guys, with FIS, with the Ski Federation, with the IOC guys. We have had a really good discussion. They were really willing, but there was no way, we have to own it. No way, we have to own it. Okay, IOC said, okay, you have your dispute and we move ahead.
Yeah, we don't need this. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah. Well, still, maybe there's still potential for it in the future. Maybe because I think it sounds like an outstanding sport. Let's shift gear again. I want to go into this Powerbar Europe. So what was when your friend came to you with this Powerbar concept in Europe, what year was that? And how far along was Powerbar in the US pre this?
I think Powerbar in the US was probably something around 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know, just a pretty early stage.
Very early, yeah.
The founder, Brian Maxwell, was a world-class marathon runner, and his wife, Jennifer, who's, by the way, now came back to energy bar business with Jumba, crazy, after 20-something years. So they found the company brand in Berkeley, in California, and we brought the first Powerbars more or less in the back. Steven, who was my partner at this point of time, was the lead guy, and we started from scratch building.
What year was
distribution.
What year was that? What year was that, Zibi?
I think it must be somewhere around 95, 94, something like that. I just don't know exactly, but it was a extremely cool time. It was, exploring about everything, distribution, marketing, communication, brand. We were like, full steam ahead. Every penny we earned, we reinvested in the brand, in the company, and it was like really, really pioneering the whole category. And then Brian Maxwell, the owner, came to us and said, "Hey guys, you're doing extremely good job in Germany." And after that, we were also having the distribution rights for Austria and Switzerland. And he said, "Okay, let's build Powerbar Europe together." So we have found Powerbar Europe. I was running the marketing. Steven was more on the sales side, and we ran this jointly for a couple of years. And then Powerbar was taken over by Nestlé.
Yes, that was a big purchase. I remember that.
Exactly. They created a division called Performance Nutrition, and I was as an employee for a number of years with a global branded sports marketing responsibility, and then moved into a consultancy role for another 6 or 7 years, running global assets, so to say. I mean, Nestlé had this performance division, and this have been split between continents or between regions, and anything what was kind of above the region, like, Olympics, Tour de France,
Yes.
big athletes like Haile Gebrselassie, like you name it.
So cool.
This was something what I kind of capture, manage the contractual relationships, manage the rights and obligation portfolio, and create proposals and ideas for the continental group to execute. And funny story, it's another funny story. One of the contracts what I have managed from scratch from day one was contract between Powerbar and Ironman.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I have to say, it was amazing to work with those people.
Yes.
The original group, Ben Fertig, Andy Giancola, Andy, Bill Potts, and so far and so on. Great people.
Yes.
And it was really a situation where we, Powerbar, kind of teach Ironman how to pull global contracts together in a diversified world where they own few events, when they had a couple of licenses across the globe, so we kind of draft the first contract. We have been the first global partner for
Ironman. And that went for quite a while. I think the Powerbar brand and Ironman was synonymous for over a decade, right? At least. It was a long time.
Well, it was exactly 7 years.
7 years. 7 year itch.
And then the next contractual extension was also on my desk. I was trying really hard, but the new people involved, oh Jesus, this was a nightmare to talk to them. It was a nightmare. It was like, wow, this is different world. This zero love for the sport or understanding or
it
whatever.
It was all corporate.
It was just pure money. And I don't want to comment on that, but do you know any private equity in the world who is having a different objectives than maximizing profit? No. So why would you expect something different from those guys? So, but whatever. I think it was a very, very interesting time, and see the development of the sport. Also, with PTO, what's interestingly also a good story behind that. What's happening with the sport in the last couple of years is just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Look, I want to touch on all of that. I do have one more question with Powerbar and you, and going right back to the beginning. I'm fascinated by who was your original target audience when you brought Powerbar to Germany first and then Europe? Was it always endurance sport, triathlon? Were you looking at winter sport? Who was the specific audience you targeted early on?
Yeah, definitely endurance sports, because we knew that by now everyone understood that nutrition is a fourth discipline of triathlon. Nowadays, it's easy. Everyone get the point. At this point of time, it was all about educating people, and we knew, the longer you exercise, the more intake of energy during the exercise you need. So it was kind of obvious. We were involved in cross-country skiing, in running, in triathlon, deep dive, and this was kind of a natural field. And over the time, it swapped over to team sports and all other sports across the globe. Yeah,
well done with all of that, mate. And you obviously learnt a hell of a lot. But then, Challenge Family, obviously, we're, I think, looking for a CEO. Were you headhunted? How did this happen? This was back, what, 2011, was it? 2010?
Actually, no.
How did you get involved with them?
2012, 13, 11, something like that. I'm really sorry not to be precise with the dates.
That's all right. I've got you. I looked at your LinkedIn and I think it said you've been with them since February 2011. So,
really, there we are. Thank you very much.
I've done more homework on yourself than you know about yourself yet.
I have been close to Challenge Road through our sponsorship of the event for many years.
Oh, of course, yeah.
As I have said, with the consulting role, when I moved from employment to consulting, I was doing also a business development projects for sport brands and companies.
Okay.
And got together with Felix. And Felix more or less said to me, "Hey, Zibi, you do this consulting for other brands. What about to have a look at Challenge? because we with Challenge World in a place where we have a couple of requests from other countries, but we don't want to kind of move ahead somewhere where you don't know how the things will evolve. So can you have a look at it? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So we agreed on a project brief.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went out, spent 3 months talking with future projection agencies, with different key players in the mass participation sports, and pulled together a proposal which was more or less, either you go full steam ahead with a brand which is appealing globally,
mm-hmm.
or you just remain as you are in the world and focusing on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then got a couple of weeks later a call, and Felix said, Zibi, we really love what you presented. We would love you to take over the leadership of the execution of the project or execution of the whole concept as a CEO of the new company we could set up for that. And I actually said no.
I bet you did. It's kind of like, what? Hang on. At first.
I actually said no. And I said, I, at this point of time, I was with performance nutrition,
mm-hmm.
with Powerbar, with Nestle. I was managing Michael and Andreas Rellet. I was involved in so many amazing things. It was just like really limited in resources. I said, the only thing I could envision if we build together the brand. So where we are becoming all equity owner, starting from scratch, starting from new, and this is how we agreed. And we started, I think we registered Challenge Family as a company in 2013. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe on LinkedIn or somewhere else. There's a written.
I can't help you right now. Give me a chance. Hang on. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then we were two CEOs, Felix and I, and after around 2 years, Felix and Alice and Catherine just came to me and said, Zibi, we really want to go back to Roth and focus on Roth. So this is where I just became solely responsible CEO for the growth of the Challenge Family at the global scale. And the tides are great still. We are good friends, and Challenge World is a vital part of Challenge Family. And I think it was a good decision for everyone involved.
That's awesome. You mentioned equity. And everyone taking ownership. How did you make that happen? So do you have, when you say equity and ownership, who gets the ownership? Are you talking about race directors or part owners of Challenge Family if they come on board, or how does that all work?
Well, I mean, you have to differentiate between the global brand and the local events. So the business model of Challenge Family, so to say, is quite diversified. Mm-hmm. So we have a number of events what we are owning 100%. Challenge Family is owning those events 100%. We have a number of events where Challenge Family is carrying equity in those events.
Okay.
Between 15 and 50%. And they are very, very few licensing events. This was also a consequence in our business model because, as you may remember, Ironman have been stealing races of Challenge Family out of existing contracts. I think it was 6 or 7, Vichy, Barcelona, Kraichgau, what else? Copenhagen. Those have been races where Challenge Family have been built from scratch. And then Ironman went to the race director and say, hey, guys, we give you extra money, and we know what your event is worth. We give you some extras. Next to that, we take all of the legal risks, and you become whatever within our organization. And few of the races jump the fence. And so we said we have to change this, and this is why in majority of the events we are holding equity, and we are not getting involved into operational execution of the event too much on demand. Sometimes more, sometimes less.
Yes,
but we have the most decisive say if it's ownership change.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of stopped this whole.
You had to come up. Well done. I mean, you have to do something, right? I mean, you have to put.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was really, really painful time.
I bet.
But what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And the only races what we are not carrying equity or ownership equity is our licensed races where our contractual party is governmental institution. So, for example, Challenge Pagera Mallorca, our contractual partner is the region of Calvia and city of Pagera. And this is a completely different thing because you cannot co-own a company with a governmental institution.
Right. Gotcha. No, I think it's a really smart move and well done on that. For me personally, my focus was always sort of the big Olympic distance races in the US. And, when Ironman decided to start buying up all the Olympic distance races and tagging them 5150s and then all of a sudden the events disappeared. They couldn't bought them up and then sort of spit them out, if you like. And that was really sad. And especially for the professionals that were looking for something that wasn't ITU, that wasn't long course triathlon. And they, my number one type of distance and favorite triathlon of all time is always the Olympic non-distance triathlon, non-drafting triathlon.
Right.
Always my favorite. And to see that kind of series sort of disappear, and I think the way it kind of went was because of what happened with Ironman kind of just purchasing the events and then going, oh no, we don't want to do a 5150 anymore. It was like, what? What happened to our series? It was really sad.
And, don't take me wrong. I have huge respect for the brand of Ironman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of respect how the brand has been managed.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But we should not forget we are all part of the ecosystem.
100%.
And when we are entering a new country or new region, then the first thing what we are doing, we are checking, okay, what kind of races are in a region. We don't want to interfere. We don't want to kill anyone. We don't want to disturb. We want to add value. And I'm also saying this constantly to our races across the globe. If you call yourself Challenge Family, and family means something in every language, then you have to behave so. And you can dispute it. It's wise or not wise. It's a business oriented. It's a hardcore business or not. At the end of the day, this is what we represent. And I truly believe that this is the biggest strength of our brand across the globe. And we behave in a way that we are, all of our races are executed according to the rules and regulations of the national federation. We are closely working with World Triathlon, with European Triathlon Union, with national federations. We are hosting a number of continental and national championships within Challenge Family races. We have very close ties with PTO, and we support the professional athletes, as you know, forever. We have been the founding partner of the PTO.
That's right. Yes. Let's shift into that, Gio. I want you to tell me more about that because, that was almost 10 years ago. I remember Challenge in Bahrain, and there was the whole, it was called the PTU back then, I think, Professional Triathlon Union. Yeah.
Actually, this was kind of a crucial thing for race organizers. We had this race where we had like top 50, top 80 professional athletes on the start line, all of the best. I think the prize money was a couple of $100,000. It was like out of space at this point of time. This was like, wow, the biggest, greatest triathlon in a history. By the way, I truly believe from the quality perspective, from the media content perspective, from the broadcasting perspective, from the experience perspective, this was unbelievable. Maybe one of the best ever.
Yeah.
And we had this, it was, I think the winner was cashing down around 100 or 150,000 US dollars, was a lot of money at this point of time.
Mm-hmm.
And there were professional athletes coming to us and commenting, about the rules and regulation. How do you do this? How do you do this? There was some windy weather coming in, some rain and stuff like that. There was like, guys, this is great, and we love you. We really would love to make every one of you happy. And during the pro athletes briefing, I was on the stage, and I said, guys, we really admire you, what you do. You know, we are always helpful, and we want to get our event, which is setting the bar for the future, benchmark for the future, setting something extraordinary. But we need a united voice. We cannot talk to everyone or small groups. We need a united voice. So after the briefing, I made my speech, and I said, guys, I'm closing the door, stay in the room for an hour or two or whatever needed, and came with something which represents you, where we can talk to. And this was the birth place of PTU, which was later transferred to PTO. And I was, supporting this personally over the early stages and difficult times to get to fruition. And I think what PTO is right now is changing the entire sport.
It's amazing where it's going to. I think, it's great for you to give me that recap. I feel like I was around the sport for 25 years. The amount of times I saw an attempt at creating a professional athlete voice, whether it would be called a union, an association, an organization, whatever it was. And it was always so hard to get a collective. It's, and I feel with you and your voice early on there, it was really the catalyst to really everybody start talking and getting onto the same page. And yes, where the PTO has gone now, Sam Renouf and his team are doing a great job. They're not perfect, and there's no such thing as perfect, but what they're attempting to do, I think they're really driving it forward. They've had some great funding rounds, which has been tremendous for them. It's allowed them to really try and push hard the brand out into the world. I know the professional athletes are loving it right now. And, personally, as a huge fan of the sport, like you, I want to see it successful. I truly do. I helped them out there for a while with a little bit of commentary work and that kind of thing. But I think it's still got a ways to go, but I think it's been to see where it is now compared to even 2015, 2016 when you're talking about, it's pretty great to see.
I think this is by far the best time to be a professional athlete.
Oh, 100%.
This is now. You have all of those things which are changing so fast. And, the guy who was so determined to make it happen, I think you met him, Charles Adamo.
Of course.
He was leading the board of the PTO. I was sitting on the board for a number of years. And, we had a number of meetings and discussions back and forth to deliver the first Collins Cup at unbelievable venue of Expionic Sphere in San Marino. It was so fulfilling. And Sam running the company for the last years, and now with Chris as the board president of the board of PTO or chairman of the board. You have the most experienced team, and I think for the professional athletes, also based on the experience of the past. That's how I would say. It wasn't love at the first look. It took a while, but I think by now everyone recognized this is a huge platform for partners, sponsors. The broadcasting is amazing and getting better and better every time. And I know, Roma haven't been built on one day. It takes time. Exactly. It takes a while. And I think what's having achieved by Sam, Chris, Charles and the entire team within a short period of time, it's unbelievable.
It really is unbelievable. And
I think we will recognize this only in a couple of years from now. But, think about ATP in tennis or PGA in golf.
Has to start somewhere. And a big shout out while we're doing shout outs to, Sir Michael Moritz, who I think has just left as one of the big key partners at Sequoia. venture capitalist, but I think this comes from his own investment, and just tremendous shout out to him. Obviously, he wants to see it grow and turn in. He's not just spending his money as a charity. He obviously believes in it, and I think that's massive for the person writing the check in the background. And look, the PTO have a lot to live up to. It's there's a lot of pressure on the whole Sam and the whole team, and I think they're handling it well. I really do think, like you said, the quality of the racing and the broadcasts and what we're seeing and the professional athlete commitment to these events. I just think it's, I'm excited. Like you said, I think it's a great time to be a professional triathlete. I think between Super League, Challenge Family Races, the PTO, and of course Ironman and the World Triathlon Series, there's plenty there. And if you're struggling right now, I think you got to ask yourself, actually, if this is really your talent. I think it's not, you should be able to, I don't mean to be an ass about it, but
as a professional athlete, and I had the privilege to work with many, many professional athletes, world champions, Olympic champions, many different sports. It's so easy to get sidelined. You are so focused on what are you doing. Sometimes, I know it may sounds very harsh, but sometimes when there's too much blood in the muscles while you exercise, it's maybe the thinking is not as fast as it should be. But if you have the ability to take a step back and look at the opportunities what you are having right now as a professional athlete, this is out of space.
It's out of space.
Out of space. Amazing.
I know, and I love it. I have so many of these professional triathletes on my show, and I think all of them are committed to trying to, have a really successful career. I love watching someone like an Ashley Gentle, who I'm going to take a little credit for this. She was on my show, and then we were talking afterwards, and she's like, "Oh, Greg, do I keep pursuing the Olympic thing? We're still up in the air." And I'm like, "Ash, stop. Go and start going into this, middle distance racing, and just to watch her having the unbelievable life-changing experiences to be winning these PTO events at 100 grand a pop, and when she's not winning, she's second. It's tremendous to see. And there's just Ben Canute. There's a whole bunch of athletes I'm watching that are just having successful careers, providing for their families now, like more than ever before. And I think it's fantastic.
Absolutely. And we have unbelievable characters in our sport.
We do.
The athletes.
Yeah.
So in the athletic performance, it's just out of pace to understand for an average Joe. But then they are also great human beings.
Yes.
I think the hard life of a triathlete, where you have to be so determined, where you have to spend so many hours, you have to work your ass off to perform and to improve, make people so kind and nice.
I think
they are unbelievable characters.
It teaches you humility,
really nice
doesn't
people.
it? I think
absolutely.
I feel like this sport, just if you come in being an arrogant shit, is going to slap you down pretty quickly. You're going to learn a lot of humility pretty fast, and this is why I agree with you. I think everybody that I've met in our sport, it's very hard to meet a bad person in our sport, because I think everybody's been slapped around so much that they all end up being great human beings.
So, I traveled to the PTO US Open in Milwaukee with Freddie Funk, who I'm mentoring, managing, helping to draft the future together with his coach, Dan Lorenk. And, we went with Ash Gentle and her husband, Josh and a few others for dinner, and we spent time with Jan and had chats with others. It's just really, really a cool group of people.
Yeah, no, I shout out to them all. I've had so many of them on my show. Every single one of them, I've just loved every conversation. The professional triathletes in our sport really are special people. The amateurs, as you and I both know, they make our sport. So always a big shout out to them. I always say, I got into the sport.
They are role models for the age groupers. How many sports do you have where you can line up together with the professionals?
Yeah.
Not many, right?
Not many.
You are sidelined, you are outside of the ropes. And in triathlon, spending the time together with those guys, and you are crossing the same start line, same finish line. And that's very special.
And everybody goes to hell and back together, and then you all share your war stories at the end of it. For me, that's just like, that's what the sport is all about. Hey, let's tell me about, when you look at the Challenge family, reflecting on now over 21 years, are there some big moments in that 21 years that, you can look back on? I mean, I know you weren't there for all 21, but I think you still have a pretty good understanding. Have there been some really major milestones in that time? And then the second part to that question is, what are some of the big milestones you have, for the future? What's in the pipeline for Challenge Family?
Well, as always, in the development of a brand and a company, you have milestones, you have objectives, you have vision, you have mission, you have all of those great things. I think, to me, it was hell of a ride. I enjoyed this amazingly. What I enjoy probably the most is to be at the finish line, welcoming the pros, but also the age groupers, and listen to the stories. Everyone is having a story.
Everyone's got a story. Yeah, everyone's got a story.
And we are privileged as a Challenge family, as an event company. We are privileged to manage free time and hobby, with the exception of the professionals, of the people.
Mm-hmm.
How amazing is that, right?
Mm-hmm.
How cool is this? This is out of space that we are privileged to manage their free time. And this is kind of a responsibility, and we try to make the best out of this. I wouldn't mention a milestone or what would have been achieved. I think the whole development we are very, very proud of. As I have said, I'm most of all proud of the team. And, looking forward to the next stages, next 3 to 5 years, I think I have mentioned this transformation from, long distance brand or company to a more festival focus.
Love that.
Focus on the local communities and delivering platforms for any ages, genders, nationalities. That's where we want to go.
I love it, Zibi.
To be a quality leader, and grow on a steady pace with a control quality orientated approach. That's probably how I would describe it. There is not a number you written in year 2026 we want to have 73 events or whatever. No, we really truly believe that there is a space out there. We see a dramatic increase of requests from venues, location, communities, cities, governmental institutions, tourism boards, federations approaching us to bring challenge to the countries, and we evaluating those. We have a process we are running through. It takes usually between 18 and 24 months.
Wow.
And step by step growing the brand, the company.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a process.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we have those connecting or bonding elements for all of our events. All our events having the same number of qualification slots for the championship, and all of our events are contributing to the world bonus, which we are, professional athletes collecting points, and we are paying at the end of the year a significant amount to the top 5 male and female. And many of the athletes, of the professional athletes, plan the year around those events. So it's a kind of a work in progress.
Would you, being your involvement, with the PTO, would you ever want to secure some events with the PTO? Is that something you'd be? I know at Samarin, there was a race. You did the challenge race the day after the PTO race, but would that be a partnership that you'd like to keep exploring?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, 100%. And our team members have been providing services to PTO at different other locations, and we're absolutely in favor of the growing process and supporting the development of PTO moving forward. And we are in a constant dialogue with the PTO leadership team, and yeah,
That's awesome. Oh, that's brilliant.
Explore optional opportunities. How can we jointly grow the sport on a global scale?
Very cool, mate. Well, I'm excited for you and the Challenge family. Before we go, I have a few. I want to start with just some opinions. Then I want to sort of go through a couple of final questions and then some rapid fire. So let's quickly go through this. The question I love to ask people with your stature and understanding of the sport. Can you give me a greatest of all time male and female triathlete?
Wow. Greatest of all time. Okay. On the male
There's
side,
no wrong and right answers, mate. So it's just a bit of fun.
On the male side, it may surprise one other person. I will go for Zibi Szlufcik. And it's not only because of his sporting performance, but also who he is, what he represents, his value, his morals, and the way he leads the sport.
Great answer. Love Zibi. Love Zibi. And I think that's a really great answer. I got to get him on the show before he's done. He's on his tour this year of every race that is on his bucket list, and he's hitting them all out of the park. But I love that as an answer, and it did surprise me because it hasn't been ever mentioned before, and I think it's a great one. So big shout out to Zibi.
Yeah, and on a female side, probably Chrissie Wellington. Also next to the sporting performance, and I had the privilege to be very close to Chrissie Wellington because Professor Aske Jokendrup is a very good friend of mine, and he was putting together all the nutritional stuff for Chrissie, and we spent quite a bit of time, and I just see what she's doing after her career, giving back so much to the communities, and that's what's really bring a lot of respect from my end when people are kind of open-minded and see the bigger picture and not only me and I and now. And great sporting performance. It's amazing, but as I have said, I was privileged to see many Olympic champions and many world champions, and next world championships and next Olympic games, they are new world champions and new Olympic champions. So everything is passing quickly, and if you are not staying who you are and really connected to your values, then you are losing the aura.
I love that perspective. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Like you, Chrissie, also big shout out. Love Chrissie Wellington, everything she did for the sport and is still doing, like you said. Two great choices, mate. Here's another one, which is a little bit more of a global. Who would you put as the greatest athlete of all time in all sports? You ever got one? These are great. If you're ever having a dinner party and it's a little quiet, these are the kind of ones you just throw into the middle of the table and everyone will debate for hours.
Yeah, there were so many amazing people changing the sports, the way we are consuming sports, the way we are watching sports. I don't know. I will somewhere go between probably Michael Jordan, but also, I met many times Haile Gebrselassie, the greatest runner of history.
Awesome.
And this is unbelievable guy to spend time with. Absolute visionary, absolute great human being. Probably somewhere there.
I love that. Haile Gebrselassie, mate. He got me through the late 90s, early noughties. And if you ever everybody want to watch a really great race, watch the 10K at the Sydney Olympics where he'd been injured and everything else with his Achilles injury. And that sprint that he had with Turgat for the finish was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. This was out of space. And it's a really funny story. I just really quick one.
Yeah.
We had a photo shooting with Haile Gebrselassie in Netherlands. The day he broke the world record 10K, where Kenenisa Bekele was a pacemaker for Haile.
No way.
And in the morning, Haile said, well, before the shooting, we go for a little jog. Okay, I said, I'm joining you.
Yeah.
Coming out, we have like 26, 27 degrees Celsius, coming with, a nice light shirt and shorts. And they are coming with suit track and hoodie and beanie. and we are going 4 minutes per K on a jog. They said, we do 4 times 200 meters to get freshness in the legs. Jesus, be live with them and doing those 200-meter sets.
That's so
changed
cool.
my perception of run.
Yeah.
Really cool.
The fact that you did that on the day you broke the world record, and honestly, I would put Hailey Gebrselassie in my top few. Like for me, a bit going to how you described, Chrissy and Sebi. It wasn't just his domination of distance running, but just the person that he was, everything he's done for his country in Ethiopia. From what I can tell, obviously, I've never met the man, so I can't actually give a definite. But he was always an inspiration for me. All right, final 3 questions. If you could go back, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
My 18-years-old self. Aim high, go for it, and power on.
That sounds like a Powerbar commercial. That was awesome.
Yeah, but sky is the limit.
Yeah.
Time is flying.
Yes.
We are thinking so much about what if.
Yes.
But
just do.
Just do it. Do what you love, and it never work. It's not my quotes, but yes.
Yeah.
Just do it and aim high.
I think it's great, mate. And I think you have. I think you've actually lived, I don't know, you can go back and tell your 18-year-old self that, but I think you've already gone and done that. You've been truly inspiring in everything you've done. All right, next one. 3 non-family people you'd love to have dinner with, living or dead, they could be. Well, obviously they're not sitting at the dinner table dead. They're alive when they're eating.
Not family people. I think I would love to talk to politicians who are decision makers about the role of sport.
Mm-hmm.
We just see the whole population moving in a direction which is not very healthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We are working our butts off the entire life, not able to invest in most important thing, or in thing which is giving you the biggest profit, which means your body,
your health.
And then we are turning 40, 50, 60, and we are spending millions or billions on medicine, on treatments, and all of things. I would love to have some sort of a discussion which is going beyond and above the things. To me, COVID also was a perfect example. People recognize how important is exercising. I was really amazed that rarely governmental institutions said, guys, next to all of the things what we are doing, go and exercise, strengthen your immune system, and this will bring treatment to our health system, so to say, because it's less sickness, less, maybe a bit philosophic, but this is what I would really love to spend time with those people who are decision makers.
I love
changing
that.
the behavior.
I think we got to do that. Here, count me in, mate. Count me in on that dinner party. All right. I think that's a great one. All right. Last one in this group. Where do you see yourself? You've kind of talked about Challenge Family, but where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Well, definitely a beach house, beautiful sand. No, joking. Just joking.
I know there's no way somebody like you is going to be content just sitting in a beach house on sand.
No, I just really love what I do. I really love what I do. I really love to engage with people.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the journey with Challenge Family. I'm really enjoying what's happening with the BTO and development of the sport. I love to work with people like Freddie Funk, amazing human being, great personality. I love to contribute to the growth of the sport in a global scale. I want to share my experience. I would love to see a mission with young, upcoming superstars where I just kind of help them to draft their future. So that's where I see myself in 5 years. Still exercising, what I do constantly 4, 5, 6 times a week.
Good man.
And staying healthy.
Good man. Great answer. All right, let's finish off with some rapid fire and then I'll let you go. I've taken up a lot of your afternoon. But But this has been really fantastic, by the way. I've thoroughly enjoyed our chat. So these are rapid fire. Let's see what your fast twitch fibers are like. This first one could be a bit tough for you to pick, but let's give it a go. Okay. What's your favorite challenge family race location?
Wow. Okay. Do I have to say something, right? I will go for Challenge Kaiserwinkel-Weiße in Austria.
Nice. Yes. Is that one we should all go check out?
Well, I have a flat nearby, so that's why. Oh,
perfect!
It's like the picturesque Heidi Land.
Yes,
it's just it's amazing.
It's gorgeous. All right, second one: beer or wine after a race? What do you prefer?
Red
wine. Nice.
Yeah.
What would be worse, being attacked by a bear or a shark?
Shark probably would be really bad.
I have this debate with a good friend of mine, Mark Jenkins. I don't know if you remember. Well, you know Helen Jenkins does a lot of the commentary, but Mark, her husband, and I are very close, and he always says a bear, and my wife says bear, and Helen and I always say shark. So that's an important one to get to the bottom of. All right, most 2 used apps on your phone?
Well, WhatsApp and the weather app. Because whenever I'm getting to venues and location of challenge family races, well, we always care about the athletes and care about the weather, and there are things we never compromise, and there's athlete safety, and as soon as there is some crazy stuff happening, well,
it's unreal.
Afraid.
What you got to go through those decisions. I always feel for you guys, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, if you could add a 4th event to the triathlon, what would it be? Swim, bike, run?
Well, I will probably move it to winter and add cross-country skiing. I love the sport.
Yeah, but that means you're swimming in winter too. So
we have been debating with Sam from PTO, about how can we stretch the PTO sport throughout the entire year and provide more opportunities to us. Well, what about moving this to winter time, doing a bit of it indoor and then doing outdoor, right?
Hey.
I'm just joking. But,
I love the idea.
We are in a very, very healthy space with the 3 disciplines.
Yes, I agree, but it's a good one. All right, best decade of music. It's an important one, Zibi.
You will be probably blown away what kind of music I'm listening to. No. And I would say now just, I love what's happening on the charts. My kids are feeding my playlists on different apps, and I just love, electronic music. I love techno. I love the charts. Now is the best.
Oh, you're awesome. How old are your kids?
23 and 27.
Good man. Wow. You started at the right age.
Yes, absolutely. And if you will ask me in this fast round, the best experience of last year, I went 3 times to Berlin with my wife, one weekend with both of the kids, weekend each, to different concerts of our different groups. So we went to Coldplay, we went to Boris Brejcha, which is electronic techno music, partying with my daughter until 5 o'clock in the morning, and with my boy to Ben Brimmer, which is kind of chill out music. Wow.
You are so hip. You are so cool. I love that. I love it. I love that you've mentioned family a couple of times in this episode too, and I think that's really fantastic. I even said to Laura yesterday, I said, I think I'm going through a midlife crisis, but it's not it's the opposite of a midlife crisis. I said, I just want to spend time with you guys. That's my crisis, is that I want to spend all my time with, and my kids are 5 and 3. So I'm like, I kind of look at, I've got 15 years where they're with me. I'm like, I don't want to miss it. So
enjoy every second of it.
Yeah,
enjoy
thanks,
it, because it's passing by so quickly. Unbelievable.
Quickly. I know. Where are we at? Okay, here's some quick ones to finish. Coffee or tea before a race? What do you prefer?
Coffee, absolutely. and by the way, I'm like doing myself 4 or 5 challenge family races, mostly in a relay.
You are?
Just to see, and experience the vibe of our event from inside. And I think like 95% of triathletes are coffee junkies.
Yes.
As well.
Yes, 100%.
But by the way, I'm married to an English woman, so I'm drinking every day 5 to 6 cups of tea as well.
Oh, you do the tea? I know it.
English, British.
Yeah.
The veins.
It's funny. I don't drink tea while I'm living in the US, but as soon as I go back to Australia, I start having tea again. I mean, I still have my coffee as well, but I'm like you. All right.
Suzanne, my wife, can start the day without a tea.
Wow. Good on her. There's something about just having a warm cup of something. You know, I don't know. It's the coffee culture I like, and I don't always need to pick me up, but I just like to start with a warm something. All right, last one. Greatest movie of all time.
JFK.
Nice.
I think that this is. I watched this movie 3 or 4 times, and I was always excited about details I have seen and explore over the time. And Forrest Gump.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Can I pick 2?
Of course you can. You can pick more than 2 if you want. I love that. I mean, look, I'm always looking for recommendations, so that's fantastic. But Zibi, what's next, mate? This has been great. What do you got coming up?
What's next?
Yeah, what's coming up?
Well, traveling to Challenge Almere Amsterdam, that's the next big for us. It's, by the way, the second oldest race in the world after Kona.
Is
Kona
it really?
was the first, and the second race was Challenge Almere. It's unbelievable venue. It's great community, and that's my next.
Are you traveling to a lot of how many of the races are you actually going to yourself?
I would say between 10 and 12 a year. That's something like
that's plenty. Yeah, that's plenty. That's a fair bit of travel.
I love it. Really.
Yeah, I can tell, mate. I can tell by this conversation just how much you've embraced the sport, how much you've loved the sport. It's because of you and several others that we have such a great triathlon. So from me to you, big thank you. People like yourself have really driven this sport to what it is, and to have you on the show talking to me and celebrating everything you've done has just been absolutely fantastic. I've enjoyed listening to your story. I still want to take you out for a beer and hear more about, leaving Poland and what that whole thing was about. So I think there's more to unravel there. But, mate, thanks so much for coming on and just sharing all of your experiences with us all.
It was a great pleasure, Greg, and really looking forward to see you and Laura hopefully soon again. We don't have to wait another 6 or 7 years
Yes.
to have a beer.
Yes.
It will be brilliant. And best regards to your audience, and thank you for this kind of conversation.
All right, mate. Cheers. Thanks. And we will see you. We will see you sooner than 7 or 8 years. And once again, Zibi, thanks for joining me. For everybody else, you can find all the show notes and timestamps and everything else at bennettendurance.com/media. All right. Stay on the line, Zibi. Appreciate you, buddy.